Are you resisting money? Hey guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. Today we are talking about money blocks, and boy, do I have stories around this. You guys, money mindset was something that I really started to investigate when I first started my personal development journey. So for those of you who don't know much about me or much about my story, I came to California, while you're watching this, about 14 years ago. And when I first came out here, I had the biggest poverty mindset. In fact, I came here and the first job that I did was picking up dog poop and cleaning out dog litters for minimum wage. And that's really what I felt that I deserved or what I was capable of. So now flash forward, and it's 14 years later, my husband and I just bought an amazing house that is currently getting remodeled. I have a fantastic car. I have an amazing business. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm telling you that when you get your mind right, truly anything is possible. And we have to get out of this comparison of what other people have and really look at our money blocks within ourselves. Because what radically shifted for me was when I recognized that I had the ability to create wealth just like anybody else. Now, I'm going to give you some tips, but hear this story though. So when I first really got into like the law of attraction, Think and Grow Rich, just started really diving into it, I became obsessed. I would not allow my mind to wander anywhere. I would do my visualization every day. I really dove into it, and you know what? It worked. And it radically worked. I went from making $13,000 a year to within just a few years bringing in over $250,000 a year in income. But here's the crazy part. So I knew how now to attract abundance, to attract wealth, and yet I was living paycheck to paycheck. How is that even possible? How is it that someone who doesn't have any money, that it's understandable that they can't afford, things, and their constantly bank account is low, to making that much money and having just as many bills, if not bigger, in that arena? Well, it's because even though I had broke through some of my money blocks, I hadn't broken through all of them. And this is why it is so important for us to begin to change our relationship with money, and it being an ongoing process for us to continue to transform within ourselves. Because here's the truth. Now, I've worked through a lot of it, and I've built a 6-figure income business. I am doing wonderful things in my life. And now again, we're up leveling. My team, my life, my business, my home, everything is up leveling. And sure enough, as I'm entering into this new wealth consciousness that is more than what I've had before, it totally flared up all of my worthy issues. It flared up all of my insecurities all over again. And I had to go back to the basics. So I can work through that, to transform that, to step into this new vibration of this higher consciousness of greater wealth. And so I share that with you because it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're not making a lot of money, or if you do make a lot of money, all of us have a financial ceiling. I heard a story once about Tony Robbins, who was stuck at the 1 million mark. So that was his financial ceiling, $1 million a year. And he couldn't break past it for 7 years until he did the work internally to shift his money blocks. So it doesn't matter what phase or what stage you're at in your life, we all could use some more money mindset tips. So with that being said, let me share a couple with you right now. With the first one, which is, you have to identify what your blocks are and where they come from. Okay, this seems like duh, but it is such a powerful, powerful exercise to sit down and really scope out what are your limiting beliefs around money. Do you think that money is evil? Do you find yourself comparing that, oh, well, they can have that because they're good at marketing, or they had good family, or they came from a good home, or maybe that only the rich get richer, or that having wealth is bad, or it makes you arrogant, or that you can't be humble and wealthy. Where are your limitations? You're not able to break through money blocks if you don't know what your money blocks are. So sit down and really map that out. When I shared that story about me transforming my wealth mindset, and all of a sudden I was attracting all this money, but yet I was still paycheck to paycheck, well, a part of that came from my conditioning. And I realized that the people that I knew growing up, and a lot of people in my family, lived paycheck to paycheck. And so even though I was attracting more wealth, I was still playing out my pre-existing conditioning of the mind. Once I was able to make that connection, I was able to radically transform it to allow me to have more abundance, to have excess money, and allow that excess money to be able to do with as I will in my life. So now that took my willingness to sit down and figure out, where are my blocks? All right, so simple enough, but let's move on. Here's my next tip, which is get unstuck by identifying the fear around your limitations. Okay, so now the next phase, once you identify the block, we really need to tune into our emotions. We need to figure out, is there any fear or insecurities around these limiting blocks? Because your emotions are a huge driver, a big driving force. If money makes you angry, or if you're afraid that success is going to change you in a bad way, or maybe you're afraid that you can't handle it, or you're not capable of it, or that you're afraid of, sharing your intention to be a millionaire and then getting laughed at. So you have to really address, what is the fear? Where is your emotional set point? Does it make you sad? Do you feel ashamed when you think about money? Do you feel guilty? Where is your emotions in connection to this limitation? Because if there's any what I call lower vibrational emotions, ones that are, they're not bad. I don't want to say that they're bad emotions by any means, because emotions serve a purpose. But I mean like any emotions that are going to tank you, that are going to emotionally drain you, that are going to block you from progressing forward. And that's usually fear, shame, guilt, anger, sadness, disappointment, disgust. So if you have any of those emotions, that's what we need to work through and process through to help you break free of these money blocks and step into an abundant life. Okay, this leads me to my next one, which is get in alignment with your higher goal. Money needs a purpose. I cannot emphasize or stress this enough. Now, as I mentioned, I dove into The Secret. Now, of course, I'm not advocating for that. I do believe there's a lot of really good fundamental pieces in there, but manifesting money is a little bit different than just picking things out in a catalog. We do have to work through our inner blocks for us to allow ourselves to be in more alignment. But money truly does need a purpose. That we need to understand, what do we want to do with that money? What is our goal? Or what do we want to achieve with that? If you want to take a trip around the world, you need to know, how much money is that going to take? Do the research in figuring out, how much are your tickets? How much is hotels? How much is room and board? Do you have to keep your house? How much money do you need to attract to make that happen? And then once we have that number, once we have that goal, now we can start really focusing our attention, putting ourselves in alignment with achieving that, which is more realistic. When we just say, I'm going to make $1 million, but we don't know what we're going to do with that $1 million, that money doesn't really have a purpose. And so because it doesn't have a purpose, it's a little bit more scattered. We need to be extremely clear and very intentional with what you choose and to do with that money. So if you want $1 million, you need to break up what that looks like. How much are you going to spend on a house? How much are you going to spend on a car? How much are you going to spend on your lifestyle? Where are you going to go? What do you want to have? What is it that you want to do? Are you getting where I'm going? This is why those vision boards are so powerful. Not to mention the power of visualizing in your mind and really seeing something beyond what you're experiencing now. Super powerful, because it generates emotion, it hijacks the brain, and starts to trick the brain into perceiving that this is real and it's possible. And then you'll be more in tune to notice opportunities. You'll be more inspired to take opportunities. All of these things are coming from that ability to really connect and align your inner world with what you desire on the outer. So create a vision board. That's a great way for you to stay focused on having purpose. And if you have a house up there, you need to know about, how much is that house going to cost you, so we can have goals to begin to aim towards. All right, this leads me to my last and final tip, which is create it by taking inspired action. Okay, so this last one now is where we need to take movement. We need to start taking action. This is what I mean by that, is that once you identify the goal, you realize where the emotional set point is in releasing any emotions that don't serve you. Then we need to get into this mind, then we need to give money a purpose. So we need to really understand how much it is, what are we going to do with it, where is it going to go? And then we're going to start taking inspired action. Now, how you create money, there's a lot of different tips and tools on how to do that. Money mindset means that we need to have an abundant mind. We need to eliminate any insecurities or doubts around our ability to create money and have money. You need to surround yourself with other like-minded money mindset people, okay? So what I mean is that, there's an old saying, you're the sum of the 5 people you associate with. Who do you hang out with? And are they poverty-minded or abundant-minded or neutral-minded? Don't shame them or blame them or make them bad, but just be aware. Are you associating with the type of people that you desire to want, that you want to be? And when we begin to start creating it, opportunities are going to come out of this space of us really having an abundant mindset. And then you'll start to take inspired action. Now, inspired action could be you feel inspired one day to start creating Mind Right Mondays. Your own version of them. Maybe you feel inspired to start a blog. Maybe you feel inspired to start crafting things or creating things. We follow that inspired action because a lot of times it's leading us and guiding us towards something else that is creating new opportunities, which allows new streams of wealth to start coming into our lives. So this is where we want to start to take inspired action. For example, in your business, maybe you already run a business. Maybe you feel inspired to start making phone calls. Maybe you feel inspired to start a call list or starting emailing your clients. Or maybe it's just to hosting events. Something inspires you. And that's where that money mindset is starting to plant seeds that is leading you towards an abundant life. All right, hopefully this video has helped in some way. As always, these videos are brought to you from viewers just like you. You too can have your personal development questions answered by connecting here with us at getinspired@bonniekelly.me. Email us. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're ready to start your personal development journey right here, right now, then you can join our 21-day emotional detox for the first 7 days, free, no credit card required. It is my gift for you to start shifting and making movement right now in your life. I wish you all the abundance in the world. Mwah! Until next time, I'm Bonnie Kelly.